Cash handouts might sustain you for a few months, at the end of which your problems remain. The most terrible poverty is loneliness and the feeling of being unloved. The world is a dangerous place to live in, not because of the people who are evil, but because of the people who don't do anything about it. In the northwestern suburbs of Johannesburg, where Northcliffe Hill stands sentinel over the landscape, extreme poverty and extreme wealth exist side by side. Driving down Beyersnodde at night, the people huddled under boxes on the sidewalk for the night are testimony to the fact that the poor are amongst us. Sometimes they live on our sidewalks in the bitter cold. But sometimes they live in the neighbourhood next door, in areas of northwest Johannesburg that we sometimes wish were not there. The slums of Windsor remind us that those of us who live in our suburban homes are in fact better off than 90% of the population. What should our response be to what we see around us every day? In the book of John, chapter 12, verse 26, Jesus teaches, "Anyone who wants to be my disciple must follow me, because my servants must be where I am, and the Father will honor anyone who serves me." How are we to obey this command in our modern context? Often we have grown cynical about pouring money into what we view as a bottomless pit. We know that a simple handout of cash does nothing but provide temporary relief, and could in fact hurt more than it helps. Sometimes we are overwhelmed by the size of the problem, and this paralyzes us. However, deep in our hearts, we know that something must be done, and that we cannot afford to ignore the plight of those on our doorstep. There is an organization active in this part of Johannesburg that is taking the first real steps toward making a difference. Called the Tshepo Community Development Initiative, it is a non-governmental organization that started as a cooperative between 4 of the churches in the Northcliffe and Linden area. Tshepo means hope in Sesotho. Since its foundation in 2009, it has launched real-world projects that make small, measurable differences in the lives of the people it touches. The people who serve on its board, and as the personnel of its projects, are dedicated to restoring the dignity of the most vulnerable people in this community, by not providing handouts continuously, but by implementing programs that will, over time, restore downtrodden people to their place in society. As a further element, the work that is done through the projects recognizes that spiritual well-being goes hand in hand with physical well-being, and all activities have a strong Christian ethic to their design. This organization gives all its supporters in the local Linden and Northcliffe areas an opportunity to do something real, tangible, and worthwhile to make a lasting difference to our communities. What are Tshepo's current projects? An after-school care project in Windsor East. Without a place of safety to turn to after their school day is done, the children in Windsor would be at the mercy of all the social ills that unfortunately reside in that community. Many of their parents work long hours and cannot spend either time or resources in helping these children with their homework and school projects. The Tshepo Aftercare project currently houses about 60 children after school hours, 5 days a week. They are each given a meal per day, sometimes the only meal that they have for the day, and are then assisted with their homework by a team of teachers and counsellors. They have the opportunity to play, develop computer literacy skills, and are in general allowed to be carefree kids until their parents can pick them up at the end of the day. A soup kitchen feeding scheme with an attached job creation program. The old Scout Hall at the corners of Pendoring and Weltevreden Roads in Northcliffe provides the base for a soup kitchen, which in addition to the other soup kitchens run by churches in the Linden area, provides a daily act of mercy to those who truly would starve to death otherwise. Recognizing that the provision of handouts alone is not enough to make a difference to people's lives, the project has evolved into a vegetable garden, and plans are currently underway to commence with a fully fledged job creation program, which will involve a registration and skill assessment process for all the soup kitchen customers. A cutlery polishing job creation program. 7 of the homeless persons who used to be dependent on the soup kitchen are now housed in a workshop in Hillbrow. Here, Tshepo assists them in running a cooperative cutlery polishing workshop. Cutlery from manufacturers are taken in and polished to a high sheen finish. There are high hopes that the skills these men have acquired through this program will soon allow them to exit the program and integrate fully back into society.
Tshepo's vision is to become the vehicle through which civil society, both churches and business, in the Linden and Northcliffe area builds up the local community and addresses the many problems it faces. Imagine knowing that there is no need for any poor person to sleep in the cold under a cardboard box ever again. Imagine knowing that every homeless person who wants to work can be assisted to do so. It's a long road ahead because the problems we face are indeed daunting, but we have made a start.
The South African icon Nelson Mandela once said, "The children who sleep in the streets, reduced to begging to make a living, are testimony to an unfinished job."
Tshepo is registered as a non-profit organisation and hopes to complete its registration as a public benefit organisation by the end of 2011. This will make donations to Tshepo tax deductible. Tshepo has excellent governance structures through its board of directors, which operates according to the latest corporate governance standards. The last 2 years of audited financials are available for inspection.
As with any community development project, Tshepo is dependent on contributions from the community to do its work. Your donations, whether given through your local church, directly in the form of a monthly debit order, no matter how small, or in the form of a corporate social investment by your company, will give you the knowledge that you are making a very tangible difference to your local community.
We'd like to invite you today to join us on this journey.